You are listening to the Rare Gems Podcast with your host, Cass DeRosa.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rare Gems Podcast. I am your host, Cass DeRosa, and this is our first episode ever. I've been wanting to start this podcast for quite some time now. It's been a while, just one of those things that I kept kind of putting off because, life. And I figured what better time to start it than being 35 weeks pregnant and all of the other things happening in life. So we have our producer here, Chris, who he initially is the person who reached out to me. When was that even? Maybe 2 years, 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, saying did you ever think about doing a podcast? And I was like, who would even want to? No, who cares about me talking about anything? And fast forward now to all of these things have happened in the last 3 years. And yes, so for my first episode today, I have Joey as my first guest, my boyfriend.
Say hello.
Oh, hi, everybody. I forget that a lot of people aren't going to be able to see me.
Everyone sees you.
They're looking right at you.
They're looking right at you right now. Right here, right now. So everyone asks me online and stuff how White Opal got started, and I figured this would just be a good time to kind of backtrack for the past 3 years of the idea originating and all of the events leading up to this point. And actually, wait, what's today?
The second.
Today's our birthday. Today we are 3.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
White Opal is 3 today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, White Opal. Look at us go.
3 years.
I didn't even realize. I've been so concentrated on everything else, I didn't even realize that it was coming. Oh my gosh. Okay. So happy birthday to us. I wanted to have Joey as my first guest just because he is I don't know, I'd give you 75% of the reason why I even did it. That's a big percentage.
Yeah.
It's a very large percentage.
It is a large percentage, but at the time, when I was working at the other salon I was at for 10 years, I just was super just comfortable being there, and I was comfortable doing what I was doing, and I would have did it eventually. I would have eventually opened a salon, but I don't know that I would have did it this big, probably.
Yeah, it probably would have taken you longer to get annoyed enough to do it.
Yeah, it would have taken me a little bit, but now I think we should just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your background, and then
All right, yeah. So me and Cassandra met in 2016?
yeah.
Yes, 2016. I had just gotten done living in Boston doing a fitness startup. And before that, I was in the military in Europe and the Middle East for 5 years.
So when I met him, he was fresh out of the army.
Yeah.
You were still in the reserves.
Yeah, I was still in the reserves. I didn't show up a lot. But
No, I remember that we'd wake up in the morning and you'd put your military outfit on, and I'd be like, wow, that's hot.
yeah, it wasn't that hot. It was
hot from when you're a girl, you're just oh, that's hot.
That's what did it, man.
I was like, that's it.
Uniform.
I was like, daddy, that's daddy.
Those uniforms are so scratchy. They're not comfortable.
They seem like they're not comfortable.
Yeah, so I did a lot of a lot of traveling around the world, a lot of trying to figure out what I kind of wanted to do when I got out of the military. And
we met. You were figuring it out. I mean, we're all still figuring it out.
yeah, so we met and we hit it off right away. You basically moved into my apartment with me for 6 months.
Yeah, so during that time, I was just working. We had first started dating, so it was going out, drinking, doing this, doing that. And then I moved into your apartment, and then decided that I'd buy a house like a year into us dating, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then during this time, you started just like pushing me to do the salon thing, like saw.
Well, yeah, I
You were in,
noticed,
like-
so just so, a background on, so everybody understands, like, where everything was at the time. Cassandra was working for somebody else. She had, like, a 40,000 person following on Instagram.
I think at the time it was like 25, but
And where she was working was a small salon that maybe wasn't maintained the best at all times. And you see a girl building this giant platform with an active following and having all these overflow clients flow into other people's chairs in a salon that she doesn't own. It just didn't make sense, right? Like she's bringing in all of these people and handing them, which is nice, handing them off to other people so they can build a book and make money. But if you're going to do all of that work, then you might as well build your own salon and keep everything kind of in-house, I guess. I don't know how to explain it.
yeah, no, I mean, he started just like making it make sense to me. And at first I was just like, I don't know if I even feel like doing it all. And then at the time, like, he just made me feel so comfortable that I'd be able to. Yeah,
I mean, I had all the confidence in the world that she was gonna be successful at it, and I just started working on creating that image and like showing her how it was all gonna pan out. So we started working on. I mean, before we even started working on like a hard business plan, we like kind of joke around, like would if we were out to dinner or like sitting on the couch, we would talk about like all the things that you would want it to be, and like
we started a dream.
Color schemes, not like everything, like branding and
then eventually it started becoming reality, and I was like, all right, well, let's find a spot. So we found this spot, and we were still looking at other places. I had all these visions of things that like I wanted but didn't exist. I knew in my heart that this was a spot. I don't know. I just got a feeling. And we signed the lease and then worked on the business plan. We tried to get a loan.
Well, yeah, that was the whole loan. The loan thing was crazy.
It was a shit show.
That was like 6 months of learning how little power you have in the world as a small, like, you're not getting a loan. You're just not. It's not happening. Because literally you, like, even if you have $100,000 in the bank, you're still not getting a loan for $100,000. It's crazy. Like, no. They will not give a loan to small businesses.
My heart and my dreams were shattered when they called and they said that we couldn't get it.
Okay, I'm going to really bag on some people here. The SCORE business advisors were completely friggin' useless. Like, there's all these like free business advisor groups are people that have never run a business, and then they just tell you to do all this paperwork that doesn't make any sense, and
hours and hours of paperwork.
All of your time. So we went through a lot of waste of time, different, like charity advisory services, Monmouth County, this and that, and it's all nonsense.
And then it got to the point where I was like, all right, well, I have X amount of dollars in the bank. It's not enough. But
right, so
we're just gonna figure it out.
Yeah, so I was doing did I finish my degree?
No, you were still in school.
I was still finishing my degree, but I grew up in a small business. My parents they built a business from the ground up in the 70s, and it did pretty well. So I grew up in a small business, kind of like watching them get by and do things differently than I guess somebody would. I learned a lot of things that you don't learn from parents who worked at corporations. That's for sure. So after like trying to go the standard route, getting loans, like all these institutions and blah, 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 I kind of took from the way I grew up and said, screw it, we're just going to figure this out. So I started writing a business plan. I built out 3-year projections for everything. We nailed everything down in and out, pretty much exact. And the crazy part is that, so we had 3 years of projections, and 3 years later, we're literally exactly where our projections put us at.
I think in the first year I did.
The first year was on projection. Yeah. And and that was with, we added 20% buffers. So
we did, so I had the money. I had some money.
Well, you had some money, but then...
And we did everything the way that you're not supposed to do it.
Stuff.
Yeah.
We built the business basically on credit cards.
Like using my personal credit cards, because I knew I would make the money back.
With the faith
so
that
I
we could literally pay it all back in like 4 months.
It was not what anybody would ever recommend to do.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do it.
It's bad.
But I did it, and then, so I did it. I put all this money on credit cards, do all the shit they're not supposed to do, and then we break up. He had like a quarter life crisis. I was like, whatever.
A midlife crisis.
Midlife? I think it'd be quarter.
Midlife, that's it.
Depends on how long I live.
I guess
I don't know. I never really planned for much past that.
He broke my heart. It was bad. And I was like, not okay. As the salon's opening, let's just throw that in there.
Yeah.
As the salon's opening, I'm like, oh, wait, he was supposed to help me. Oh, just kidding. No, you got to do it all by yourself. So, open the salon, go in for like 2 weeks, I think. And then COVID happens, and I'm like in denial. They're like, everyone's talking about it. Like, oh, you're going to have to probably shut down. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm not shutting down. Like, I just opened 5 minutes ago. And sure enough, Gov Murph was like, shut the fuck down, everybody. And at this time, I like hadn't paid myself for like a very long time, so I was living off my savings. And I was like, oh, like, I'm okay, I think, like, if we get back to work in like a month. And then I'll never forget, the accountant called me and was like, oh, your payroll taxes, like, I had like money in my account, and they're like, oh, your payroll taxes are coming out. And I was like, okay, like, how much are they? And she's like 9,000 something. And I was like, there goes all my money, I have no money left. I'm like, oh shit, okay. So then we didn't know we were opening. So 3 months goes by. Every day I was just cursing you off, like, fuck. Because what do I do? Like, I was trying to like be a leader and like do all of these things for my staff, and they didn't know, like, they didn't really know me. I had to like,
Yeah.
And then we reopened in June, and thank God it was smooth sailing ever since. Like, we were busy, and we've been busy since. But COVID was crazy. That was crazy. I'm like, if I can get through COVID, I can get through it all. So then fast forwarding to a year and a half later, me and Joey were still broken up. He started weaseling his way in. Like, let's meet. And he started hitting me up, wanted to meet for coffee. Or no, wanted to just see me before he moved to Utah. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll meet you for coffee, I guess. At the time, I was like, I guess. It was like Halloween. I'm like, yeah, haven't talked to him in 2 years. I guess maybe we should clear things up. So we met for coffee. And then I had just moved. So I was like, oh, well, if you're going to be around for the next couple weeks before you move, like, I need stuff done. I need boxes carried up and down my stairs and my curtain rods hung. So I was like, yeah, sure, this is fine. And then you moved to Utah, which was not the vibe.
No, there's a lot of things about Utah. Well, I want to be careful what I say, but it didn't quite pan out.
He was homesick. He was miserable.
The culture just isn't. Going from the Army infantry airborne community to Goldman Sachs or any corporation is just, it's mind-bending how different those cultures are. So yeah, I didn't fit in, and I left pretty quickly.
So
I skied for 4 months.
Yeah, he skied for a little bit.
Got some slope time in.
He skied for a little bit, and we were talking every day on the phone, and everyone's like, you guys are going to get back together. I'm like, I don't know. Who knows? He's in Utah, right? Like, he just moved his whole life across the country to Utah, and he was trying to get me to go there. And then he had a meltdown and came home for like a couple weeks and was staying with me, and then sure enough got pregnant. And then he was like, all right, well, there was I thought about this today. I'm like, there was a moment where like we thought that you were still going to live in Utah, and like I was going to fly back and forth and be pregnant. We would have made it work.
Yeah,
but it was like this morning I was like, if that was my life right now, I don't even know what were we thinking. And then we were just like, oh yeah, we'll make it work. So got pregnant and decided to expand the salon. That's when we were like...
Yeah, I mean, the original plan was always to build more than one salon.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to build more than one salon, don't do it at all. Because it doesn't make sense as far as...
Well, in his head. In a business, like, world.
In a business world, it just doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't make sense if you want to own a salon to make money. It makes sense if you want to own a salon...
To own a salon.
To own a salon, or to... just run your own thing. And
well, he thinks your thinking is like on another level of like,
yeah, I don't. The way that I think about numbers and stuff is just, it's alien. Once you're exposed, how do I say this without sounding like a jerk?
Sound like a jerk. Who cares?
Exposed to certain parts of the economy, like money, because you start to realize how much money you need to actually do to actually build any sort of business and sustain it and make it good and treat your employees right.
Well, it's rough. It's rough out there in the streets. It's fucking expensive to live here. Any normal person like gets pregnant and they're like, oh, okay, I need to slow down now and I need to not do as much. And we're like, all right, we're going to expand. We're going to knock the wall down. We're going to expand.
Yeah, I mean, there's no choice, right? Like the way the economy is incentivized for small business, you have no choice but to keep growing. So either you reinvest. So this is how it works. Basically, if you have a business, the government takes half of your profit, right? The only way to keep them from taking half of your profit is to reinvest that money and grow your business. That's it. And if you don't do that, you're literally just shoveling money to the government. So you're forced to grow. Once you start a small business, you have no choice but to grow, or you die. So we were like, all right, let's start the process. And then I had a miscarriage. And then we were like, all right, well, maybe all that came out of that was, and it was so fast, too. It was in like 3 weeks. We were like starting the expansion, at least like talking to people about with the contractors and stuff. And then we were like, had the miscarriage, and we were like, all right, well, maybe all that came out of that was now the expansion. And then got pregnant again, like literally a day later. And Joey's literally on his phone, like scrolling, and I'm like, I take the test and I come out of the bathroom and I'm like, I was just pregnant, then I wasn't. Now I'm like, there's no way this is real. And I'm like, it's positive. And he's just like on Twitter, like, really?
Unfazed?
Unfazed. And the first time
I almost had a heart attack.
I think
I was making the pizza.
Yes. Yeah. I think to record everything, and it didn't even cross my mind because I was like, there's no way this is even possible that I am. Like, I didn't take the test because I thought I was. I took the test as like fun for funsies, like it's like a scratch off, like go get a pregnancy test. I never took one in my life. And it's positive, and I come and sit on the couch. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep this news to myself for like a few minutes, and then I'm like, he's like twirling pizzas on his finger, in the kitchen, like watching this Italian guy on his YouTube phone. And I'm like, do I tell him now or do I tell him after we eat the pizza? And then I'm like, there's really like, I never took a pregnancy test before, so I thought it was like, it could be a false positive. We didn't know, right?
Yeah, no, that's another thing that guys need to know for sure is the false positive thing. Because if you Google, like, do pregnancy tests show up with false positives, it'll be like, oh my God, all the time. They always
Really?
do. Yeah, if you Google it, right, that's totally that's not real, dude. Like, if the thing says you're pregnant, like, it's a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
So I
took one.
Yeah, he took it. So I didn't.
What were the results?
I'm like, am I going to wait? I was like, I can't tell him. I can't ruin pizza night. Like, he's living in Utah right now. He's not even living here. Like, what is my life? What the fuck is my life? And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I come out of the bathroom. I'm like, so, like, it's kind of And he's like, my pizza? I'm like, no, the test. And he's like, washes the dough off of his hands, goes in the bathroom, and I'm just on the couch, like, biting my nails. And he's like, that's not that's positive. So I call my mom, like, again, not even, I'm just like, Mom, I took a pregnancy test. She's like, and? I'm like, I was like, well, I took at the time, it was like 7. She's like, 7? You could have stopped at 1, Cassandra. I was like, really? I thought maybe, whatever.
Just making sure.
So that was time number 1. He was like, what? We were like, what the, for 3 days, we were just like, I don't even know right now. I guess everything happens for a reason, whatever. And then time number 2, not phased at all. I'm like, that's all you have to scrolling on. I'm like, did you even hear me? He's just like, well, the initial time's that's the scary time to find out. Now, whatever. I'm like, all right, we need to move you back home.
So you were ready the second time around. You were just kind of like okay with it.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It just didn't seem, I don't think either of us.
Nothing's a big deal to him. He's just like, all right.
It just
go with the flow.
You know, it's just what you're supposed to do.
He's like, I got.
I guess that's just what I'm supposed to be doing, you know.
Now he gets to go golfing all the time.
I was already retired. I could golf all the time anyway.
Yeah. Living his best life.
Yeah.
He's been working more than me the past couple of weeks, that's for sure.
I've been fixing the same sink over and over again.
I'm like, Joey, you'll be right there. He's coming.
By the way, salon sinks are whoever designs salon sink companies, we need to talk, because the way you guys design that is, what's the word?
Makes no sense.
What's the word?
If you guys want to sponsor this show, though, please feel free to reach out.
If anybody,
I'll bag on all your products, but if you want to sponsor us, I'll totally
we
tell
need
it.
sponsors.
I'll be like, you know what? That sink house, that thing is sick now.
We need a sponsor that has a good product, and then
we need a sink sponsor, that is for sure.
We could do like a development deal. Signature.
Yeah, give us.
Yeah, there you go.
Sinks for the new side. So we are just focused on the new plan next door and just growing what we have here and structuring everything a little bit more. There's always room for more structure now that I am expecting and I'm able to step back from behind the chair a little bit, because I already have taken a huge step back with having to run the business. I'm able to just focus on my staff more and like helping them like put clients in their books, because if I'm selfish and I'm just giving myself all of the clients, that's not the point of owning a salon.
Well, I mean, from looking at it from the outside, like it, she creates so much more value by mentoring the other girls that it's exponential, right? Like it just makes more sense for you to focus more on that.
Right. Like, and all of these things had to happen for me to like really cut my ties with, not with my clients, but like the things that like I love standing behind the chair all day. Like I could stand there 9 to 9. Like when I see my book full and I know that I'm making money, and like I just have to talk
in that role.
And I just have to talk to my client and like make them feel pretty and do their hair good. Like it's so comfortable to me. Now it's like, which was a tough pill to swallow, because teaching's draining. Like training the assistants all day comes natural, but it's draining. And
And there's an attrition rate, right? To like getting used to putting a lot of effort into people that might not pan out, putting a lot of time, a lot of education, a lot of effort into people that
and
might
energy
not ever make you a dollar.
Or they might just fuck you over.
Yeah, they might just go somewhere else. Like getting used to the fact that like giving 100% despite like a 20% attrition rate or whatever it is, like.
Right. So it's like my time now has been and will be when I come back behind the chair, because it'll just be for strictly training purposes only, like a short time of like training that assistant to make sure that she knows what she's doing, to put her on the floor. It's such a little amount of time, and like I can't just be behind the chair at this point all day doing hair if there's no other added value to it. Like, yeah, it's valuable to my clients, but like if somebody's not standing there next to me getting a full brain of my brain all day, it doesn't make any sense.
And people outside, I mean, I don't actually do hair, but I've met and talked to and been around people who do for quite a while, and like people don't understand how physically difficult it is to do what they do. So when you're getting close into your 30s, and I mean, stand on your feet for 10 hours doing anything, and it's brutal.
And
so when you're getting
hairstylist, if you work up until the day that you can give birth, God bless.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have. Thank God I scheduled how I scheduled myself, and I had to call out my last week of my maternity leave, but I couldn't have stood here all month. I don't think I could have did it.
The whole idea of like, I don't know, maybe how do you say it, the universe? The whole idea of the whole thing is to learn and create, and then teach other people how to learn and create. Like if you...
Yeah, your life's purpose.
Right, like whatever
there
you
want to call
it.
babe.
Way to help me out there.
Your life's purpose. That's my life's purpose.
On that note, though, because I'm sure people are curious, obviously your end game is to continue to open up more locations, continue to teach new people coming in, and build that to where eventually you don't have to be in any of the locations. Is that what you kind of like, what the game plan is for the future? I
don't necessarily, I wouldn't say that. It's not that I don't want to, like the end goal is to have, it's not even, I don't want to say the money, because it's not about the money. It's more.
Yeah. Is there, what's your timeline for, do you still want to be behind the chair?
So that's forever, the thing.
You know what I mean? Or what point are you going to be like, okay, I'm good?
I don't know, because I love doing hair, and I love the whole entire, the entire journey of it. I love teaching the younger girls, seeing them grow. Now that I now have 3 since I've started fully on the floor that I've trained from scratch that are growing their books.
Right.
Heather has a full book. Devin's on her way to having a full book. That to me is rewarding. They now have a career because I showed them the way from day one.
And they're young. They're 22, and they're they're excited
good
about
money.
Life. They're they can go out and live a cool, fun lifestyle in their 20s and drive a nice car.
So my goal is to really just create as many jobs as possible as I can, as long as the demand meets. As long as the demand is there, even with the other locations, I would love to be able to take my top employees that I feel have all of these leadership skills under me, and be able to, have them run their own location if that's what they want to do.
Yeah,
it's not easy standing. It's not an easy job. We all know, standing on your feet all day.
Right. It's a physical task.
It's a physical task.
So, age comes into play at a certain factor. You know what I mean? Or
exactly.
A factor at a certain age.
Right. So I, at this point, I've put my time in. Luckily, it's not even that I don't want to stand there all day, because, like I said, I'm perfectly fine standing there all day. I love doing it. It's just I'm more valuable running the back end of the business. If I'm just standing behind my chair all day, servicing my clients, everyone else can't, they're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. And on the thing,
I won't have time to make videos. I won't have time to do reels. I won't have time to make TikToks.
And so looking at, I look at the industry from an outside perspective all the time, and it makes it easy for me to see how it could be better. And one of the ways that I see that it could be better for the people that work in it, like we said, it's very hard to be on your feet 10 hours a day, and and one of our goals is to create ways for talented, experienced girls in this industry to gain revenue in other areas without standing on their feet, right? So in order for us to figure out how that works, Cassandra has to actually do it. So getting out from behind the chair and figuring out ways to create maybe like an online platform and education and all these different strategies that we can plug our employees into once they get to that experience level.
Right.
It creates
Teaching would be the next step to not
right.
be standing there all day. But even still, like, you have to have a day where you're standing there all day. Not that like you'd get rusty, but like, as much as I'm not going to be standing there from 9 to 9, like, I still know that I have to be in the game because I need to train. No matter what, I want my assistants that come into the salon to have had hands-on time with me because I want them to know how my brain works, and I want them to have something with me.
Yeah.
So I'll always be doing it a little bit.
So I guess this might help to understand why it's so important that she's able to teach other people the process that she uses. So what's the industry average for profit margin?
8%.
8%, 10% maybe. So the industry average is like 8 or 10%. Doing things, Cassandra is at 23%, right? So The way she's doing things is twice as efficient, and clearly she's providing a really quality service. So if she's not in here kind of monitoring and refining that process, you don't get to 23%, right? Like, you can't just walk out and let it run.
Yeah.
And get to that kind of efficiency.
And that's, I think, the difference between
people who care about their business.
And like want to see it grow. Like, a lot of people, like you said before, people are okay with just opening a salon and like just having it run as long as like the place is happy and it's thriving and people are coming there, fine. Like, my lifestyle is okay with the money that I'm making right now. I'm not like, I need to make all this money. Like, I'm good. I live a pretty simple lifestyle.
Yeah,
like,
we're not.
I mean, I like nice things, but like,
we could live on almost nothing.
Right.
So on that, how does that work just for people who maybe don't understand how the breakdown works? So you are the salon owner, but you also have time behind the chair.
Yes.
So obviously when you're behind the chair, you're charging for services and stuff like that. From the business, do you pay yourself? Like, does White Opal pay you? How do you have that formatted?
So yes, I would essentially pay myself. How am I set up? I'm set up as a
So the way that
S-corp?
she's set up is, it's what's called like, an accountant would call it like a pass-through entity.
Yeah.
Right. So the business is legally a separate entity for legal purposes, but for like payroll purposes, they're the same person, her and the business.
Okay.
So basically, whatever profit just passes through straight to Cassandra.
Got it.
Right. So in a person's head that isn't good with their finances, they would look at the profit that the salon made at the end of the month and be like, that's my money.
It's not.
That's not
right
how my brain works anyway. It could, which if it did work like that, we would not be expanding if I was one of those people.
We'd have a talk.
We would have a talk.
Skip would be a little upset.
For me, it's like whatever I make behind the chair is pretty much like pays my bills, whatnot. I'm doing weddings on the weekend. We had 90 weddings this year. Like, I'm doing okay. But I don't live outside my means. So I'll probably, hopefully, always, as long as the demand is there, be able to keep growing the business. And I think that's the difference between like also understanding that the government will take half of your money. If not, because if I kept all the profit at the end of the year, it's half of that.
Yeah, and
so for someone who may be thinking about starting a business, so for someone who might be thinking about opening up their own salon, how difficult of a step back almost was that for you to take away chair time to where like that's where you're making your money, where maybe the salon isn't, you know, turning a profit yet because you put a lot of money into it?
It was
like how long did that take you to recoup? Was it
so that's the thing. So it all happened with COVID, and
oh yeah, that's even worse.
yeah, it was worse because it was like I was trying to figure it all out. Also, I knew I had to start taking some time back because I knew just all the little things that you don't like, learning how to run the back end things, doing inventory, running the social media. Like that's all time out of the day that like has to be accounted for somewhere. So
yeah, I mean, that's the other, people don't like, I'm the only one that sees it because I'm there, but literally every night she doesn't go home and like do anything for herself. She's on social media doing marketing all night. It's crazy.
And I enjoy doing it, so to me it doesn't really feel like work, although sometimes it is. But so initially everything happens for a reason, I swear. When we broke up, I had to cut my schedule down a little bit at work because of the dog. So I would have to like leave in between, or when I came here for a little while, I was living both lives at once. No one knew at this other salon no one knew that we broke up. No one knew that I was opening this. It was like living a complete double life. And I would come here after my shift there to do some clients, and I had to start taking a step back to go home, walk Bali, whatever. So I started kind of rescheduling my clients into other people's books. Then COVID happened. And then when we came back, I couldn't take all my clients at once, obviously, because there was 200 people that needed to get in at the same time.
Right.
So that was kind of another blessing in disguise, because it was like, all right, let's break the ice. Go sit with someone else. You're going to be okay. So they did. And some of them have been fine sitting with the other girls, which I love, because that's the goal, right? Like, I want to be able to bring people in and have them sit in the other girl's chair and build a relationship with them and have them make the money. I'll still make a little bit of money from it too. Cool, fine. And then slowly, it was like each year I would cut down a little bit more of my hours, Like I said, I love standing there all day, and I love that money. So it was definitely hard for me, but I wouldn't have done it if I didn't know that I could kind of like refuel in other ways. So I know that marketing and doing the videos and all the things that I take the time to do definitely helps bring traffic through the door. Thank God, like Ariel had told me, he's like, with the TikTok thing, he's like, just post a couple times a week. The algorithm's crazy. Like, just do it. Just take the time to do it. And I'm like, one more fucking thing to add to my list of things to do, because I'm a control freak. So I'm running my page, the White Opal wedding page, the White Opal hair co page, the J Lace page. And then TikTok, I was like, and TikTok. So I started doing the TikTok.
It was like 20,000 in 3 days or something.
All it took was the one crazy client, one video. All it takes is one video, and we got like 7 million views. And now we have like 60-something thousand followers on TikTok. And
wow.
I'm sure like some of the girls are like probably rolling their eyes like, oh my God, now we're doing fucking TikToks. Because, you know, everybody has to be involved. They all give me a hard time about it. Some of them are good sports, but most of them are like rolling their eyes.
The younger ones enjoy it. Like, I think the younger ones are more.
Yeah, and I'm like, you guys think I really feel like doing this? I really, like, I don't kind of want to do any of it, but like at this point I have to.
I'm 35. You think I want to be making
You think I want to have
to
like learn how to make all this shit? Like, it's not easy. I don't even know what I'm doing. I figure it out. And yeah, so people come to the forms that come through. They're like, found you on TikTok, and I'm like, you're welcome. Welcome, guys. TikTok crazies.
Yeah,
they're crazy.
TikTok is the craziest. That's the wildest thing on earth. People are unbelievably rude.
On TikTok?
Yeah.
What, with comments and stuff?
Oh, yeah. What did somebody say to me in my video this morning? No, yesterday at night. I'm like reading all my comments, and someone's like, coffee while you're pregnant? You might as well drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes. I was like, oh my gosh.
Dramatic.
Like, it's not the same thing, but okay. But wild. So it's it's not easy on the streets. My poor clients, I get a lot of hate on there. I blast them on TikTok, and these people come attack them.
Oh, yeah.
They've been attacking them, so.
Attacking your clients?
Yeah, just like.
Oh, they attack.
How so?
They'll attack everything.
Yeah, they're just like,
dude,
she should have cut more off her hair. Her hair's disgusting. She's so annoying. Is she on drugs? Drugs? Question mark. Oh my God, is she drunk? I'm like, oh my God. If you can't watch this video and laugh and see like the context of it, like you're an idiot.
That's too
so
funny.
like the judging from the outside of people thinking that they like actually.
Oh, everybody knows everything on it. Everybody's a master entrepreneur, business, whatever. Everybody's a master stylist.
Master pet owners, right? You ever get comments on
everybody knows
Bali?
everything about being a pet owner. They've built a million salons that are way more successful than this one.
Yeah, and I'm just like, whatever, who cares?
And they're super hot.
Any comment's a comment though, because it's like you keep my algorithm up.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I mean, angry people literally make the social media ring, whatever.
Yeah, that's what got us.
Turn.
And
I was
listen,
gonna say, what do you think hits the most people, or like
Drama.
Yeah,
drama.
As soon as there's
Drama.
even a little
Just
bit of drama,
client
it attracts the mob.
Well, that's how I knew. So, and that's I base my content like things that I take the time out of my day to like put stuff out or like film in the salon to do. Once in a while, I get lucky. I'm just like, oh, that was good content. But a lot of times it's strategic based off of my insights of my previous stuff. So that one video where me and my client Gina, like there was something happening over here. Mm-hmm. And I just like looked and we both looked. And I put it on my story, and it was like something happening with the client, and Gina's like, what the hell? I just put a little clip in on my story of me saying that I had a resting bitch face, which you always say, I have a resting bitch face.
Yeah. You walk around the house with
And I put that up, and people were messaging me, like, my DMs were flooded with like, oh my God, this is so funny, this is so funny. So I was like, oh, well, if this hit in my DMs, like, if I make it a reel, then obviously people are going to comment it. So I did, and like 4 million views, and nothing even happened. Like, it didn't even show anything. It was just so stupid. Like, people just wanted the tea. Like, they wanted to see the drama. So then when the whole thing happened with Miss Witch, that crazy client, I knew. I was like, when me and Lauren walking up to the front, if I put this in slow-mo, people are going to lose it.
Yeah.
Sure enough, 7 million views because it's drama.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the drama, so that's why one of our episodes is going to have to be
we're gonna have to do
about client
just a client story.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like it's not a secret. Like everybody knows that drama sells on like. So you see, like hers are like things that actually happen in the salon. Like like they're in the moment, right? But like everybody's probably seen it. You go through like TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and it's like all these people setting up situations where they're like. Like trying to get, it's like, dude, what is going on here? Like, this is so weird.
Dead.
Like 16-year-olds trying to act
out.
like things happen in their life.
Dead. Right. No, listen, sometimes you just gotta, my whole thing setting up my camera.
That's what it is.
At my station was initially just to show how I like did the technique of Bree's hair, I think. And then once I realized, like, it was never to show like a funny video. It was like, and then I was editing it and I'm like, wait, I'm not making this a technique video. I'm chopping up her fucking clips because she's funny.
Yeah, Bree.
Yeah, and then
but that
started that.
She's not faking it.
She's not faking
Dude, the
it.
first time I met her, she got in the back of my car and just started trash talking me.
Just bashing you.
I'm like, dude, I'm gonna kick you out of my car. Like
she's just a shit talker. She's just gotta love her.
Just railing, and I'm like, who is this person?
This girl?
But that's real.
So
I
yeah.
feel bad for the guys that she dates.
How do you deal with besides that, we'll have to have Bree on the show to talk more about that.
That'll be way more exciting than me. Jeez.
How do you deal with difficult clients? Like, if you have an issue in the salon, like what's your...
Joey goes kick him out. So...
Or like, how do you tell your girls to kind of handle stuff?
So, we typically know when somebody is going to be a red flag because it came through the phone, goes to the receptionist. The receptionist most likely already consulted with one of the stylists about what the client's getting done to their hair. And during this, already we've established that she probably maybe might be a pain in the butt.
Right.
Through experience.
But for the most, like 95% of the time, we have an amazing clientele and people are excited to come here, and they're probably not gonna it's rare when it happens, but they do come in spurts. And if there's one, there's probably three.
The moon.
And it's the moon. The girls are trained for their consultations to be so thorough that if the chances of them being unhappy are not high. So if the client is going to be unhappy, they're either they have a reason to be, and maybe the stylist was wrong, and it's all learning experience for everybody if that is the case, or B, they are just unhappy with themselves, and there's nothing the stylist was ever going to be able to do to fix that anyway. Or C, they have unrealistic expectations, which would have been caught in the beginning of the consultation.
Right.
So the forms come through the desk first before they even get here. So everyone kind of already knows what their hair is like looking like. Once in a while, like a stylist, sometimes a client and stylist just don't vibe, and maybe they have unrealistic expectations. I don't know. But me having to they typically can hash it out and handle it themselves. Kindness to me goes a longer way than being nasty.
Well, it seems to me like people who are truly difficult clients had intentions to be difficult.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's things in this. There people who've been in women who've been in this, men who've been in this industry for a while, not me, have told me that it's pretty common. There's people that will go to a salon and get their hair done and then say, this is not at all what I wanted. And
it's
try to
happened
get
here
free
before.
hair. They'll jump from salon to salon and they say they're not happy and they try to get their hair done for free for eternity.
Right.
It's a technique that people use.
It's a scam.
Yeah.
Technique.
So a lot of the times that when I've heard of people being difficult here, you can almost tell that they had full intention on being difficult.
The girls know that if it was their fault or they should have taken a different approach, that I'm going to say that and I'm going to be honest with them and be like, oh, well, you probably should have did this. But at the end of the day, make them within reason. If they're not being crazy and they're not being rude and it wasn't an unrealistic expectation and there was a miscommunication somewhere, because that happens too. There's a million different things that can go wrong. Make them happy. Fix it. Make them happy. We're not here to be assholes. I want everybody leaving here 100% happy with their hair within reason. If they
you always want to lean towards did I do something? You always want to question whether you did everything before you say this person is just because you never want to be that salon that is actually screwing people and being they're just, you know what I mean?
And
that's the last thing you want.
And that's what I never I don't ever want that to be. That's not the vibe.
But
the
at the
vibe
same time, there are people who need to be bounced.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as everyone's...
What do you guys do in situations like that, though? Say, someone came in there, you kind of felt there was a feeling they might be a little
it's
difficult.
happened, but we make TikToks about it.
Right.
I usually start out with a suplex.
Just an elbow to the face.
Listen, and I say it to the girls too. They're like, when it's drama, I'm like, well, these days, as of lately, once in a while, we need that drama because I need the content.
Yeah,
so it's okay.
Yeah. This is not an invitation.
It's not an invitation, but
yes, Cindy, this is not an invitation to come in and act wild.
Wiling out, but with the TikTok thing, people are coming in hot, and chances are we're gonna get some crazies here and there, but you get more good ones than bad ones, and it's fine. But dealing a couple times, Lauren's been here more than me when the things have gone down, because it just so happens I'll just get home and I'm like, oh Jesus, Christmas. But that day that it was with that client. I mean, everyone saw the clip. I ended up having to call her and tell her off the next day. Well, she called me. I was going to call her and tell her off, but then she ended up calling me, so it looked better because I was like, oh, well, I wasn't seeking her out.
Right.
And then there was another...
Just so you guys know, we're from New Jersey. Like, telling people off isn't as, like... like, when I was out in Utah, like, it's really weirdly... We tell people off here.
We tell people off here.
It's a necessity here.
You have to.
Right? There's
and
too
that's
many
the thing,
people
like,
in too
so
tight of
many
quarters. You need to be real.
I'm very nice, and I think the TikTok might tell you different, that I'm just an unemotional, stone cold hearted. I have a stone face. Heather will tell you too. She's like, Cassie's so like not lovey. I'm like, I love you all so much.
Look at all the...
She's like, you're just not like, I don't know, you're not like lovey-dovey. I'm like, yes,
Oh, you're not
am.
like fake. Like a lot of like...
like fake bubbly.
I feel like I'm so lovey-dovey. I get offended when she tells me that. I'm like, whatever. I love everybody. But I am always the nice one, and I'm just like, I want the client to be happy. Who wants to deal with a shitty client in the front of the awkward? Like, ugh, I hate confrontation to begin with. So if I have to get into it, it's because
It's pretty serious.
It's got to be pretty
It
serious.
escalated.
The other crazy incident, which was crazier than this one, I wasn't here for.
Are you talking about the one where like the whole East Coast lit up and was like, oh, I know her?
No, that's what. Yeah. No, literally the whole East Coast.
Like,
everyone said,
there's like literally.
Oh, wait, was that the wedding one?
She put up a video about.
That's the video I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the one where me and Lauren walked forward in slow motion.
And literally, like, people who
Miss
work in
Witch.
salons from like Florida to Maine were like, oh, I know that lady. She came in here like last year and did the same thing. Like,
Really?
it was crazy.
And that's what pissed me off about the TikTok comments being like, that's how you run your business. You bombard this client, blah, blah, blah. Like, you saw a 30-second clip of this whole situation. Like,
Yeah.
and come to find out,
Meanwhile, like,
literally people were sending me, they would message me and be like,
hi,
is
I'm
this?
from Naples, Florida. Is this?
she was like,
She's
I'm
like
from
a
North.
serial problem starter.
She was like, I'm from North Carolina. This girl did this to my friend. Is her name blah, blah, blah? And she said the lady's name. And I was like,
Yeah.
and then I got another one from like a salon nearby here. And she was like, is this da-da-da? She did this to our salon. And I'm like, and was sending me the reviews. And I'm like, this is crazy. But no, there was another one that was Michelle G and her client. The mom was standing there the whole time, like just all the red flags. Brittany and her mom. I didn't say her last name, but we call it Brittany and her mom. And they were scammers. They definitely go around to salons and just try to get her hair for free. And she left without paying, and then we charged her. We were going to call the cops. I was actually at home about to get in my car while all this went down, so Lauren handled that one. But there hasn't been that many crazy ones, just a couple. And
Well,
3
good.
years isn't bad.
All right, so let's take it back to the start here, because I'm sure other people have, if you're thinking about starting a business or, maybe just aren't sure. You said you had some money in the bank and getting loans and stuff was tough. How much did it take on initial investment?
The first time, it was
140.
140 was literally to
With-
get like without.
No, 140.
stations.
No, 140 was everything.
Oh, it was everything. Yeah. So
140,000 was around there. Was the build out, the product, my back room color, the stations, custom. Everything was custom made. Shout out to Lindsay Price, Lindsay Price Design. She is our architect and our interior designer, and she has a guy that does everything. So I would send her. That was the other thing. I had like a vision, but like not really. I just knew I wanted a big open white space. And she kind of like mirrors, light fixtures. I didn't know because there's so much out there, and like my brain went all mush.
And that's the other thing. Like, we're so lucky that you've known Lindsay for years.
Yeah,
and
like
years.
she.
If we had to actually,
if I had to actually pay
to
her
do
what
she did,
I couldn't have. I just had the right people in my life at the right time, so she helped me a lot. she designed the entire place. So I give it to her. And yeah, $140,000 was what it costs to do everything, like all the things.
It was it was very strategic, like down to how we designed it. From the beginning, I knew that we could save $50,000 just doing the ceiling and the floor a certain way.
Right.
So like in order to do this, to make it look like this for 140, you got to like thread the needle.
And we got lucky because it was a blank space and it was brand new, so there was no plumbing in here yet. So we were able to save money to do the plumbing before having to jackhammer through the floor.
So like there's so much. The floor in here was just rocks, and they didn't lay down the cement slab yet, so they could just put our plumbing down and then pour the cement over that. Right? If they had to tear up the cement slab, put the plumbing down, and then reset, like it.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra cost.
Probably, I don't know, $10,000-$15,000.
So
very strategic.
At the time, I didn't have that much money. I had like maybe 100, and then was like, all right, well, if we lay this out now, by the time it's time to give the last final payment, and then have to finish getting all of the stuff, and I save more money, I think I'll be okay. And it ended up being okay. Like I said, I put stuff on personal credit cards, and we opened like a business credit card because we had like 6 months interest free or something like that.
I mean, we got like I don't know.
And then the cards hit though, the interest rate hit and everything when COVID happened and we shut down, and I was like, fuck. And we have a family friends that luckily trusted me and trusted the business, and was pretty much like, I'll pay off the debt that I have at a lower interest rate, and then I'll pay him back. So everything was just consolidated into one, which helped me like crazy. And now I was able to pay him back super quickly. I didn't do anything outside of just working and saving and paying him back. I lived a very simple lifestyle for a while, and now we have a good relationship with him where if we need anything in the future, he is more than willing to help us. So that's a huge weight off my shoulders too, because had I not had like help if needed, I don't know that I'd be scared to be doing this.
The only reason that materialized is because of how you performed. It's not like we had like this beneficiary who was just going to give us. We're like
right. Like I didn't have a backup.
Nobody was going to give us money. The only people started saying they wanted to give us money once they saw that we could make money. Right. Like nobody was like, hey, have fun.
Yeah, I'm just going to hand you some money. That would have been nice. I didn't have a fan. I don't have family.
If anybody wants to hand me money to build businesses, I can.
If you guys want to sponsor us.
Anybody want to spot me?
Angel investors.
Spot me a milli. That'd be nice.
That'd be real freaking nice.
I can turn it into.
So how long after you opened, like you said you didn't pay yourself for a while, how long was that?
So luckily, the only time I was not cursing Joey off in my head when COVID happened and we were broken up and not speaking was the fact that he negotiated my lease so well that I didn't actually have to pay rent until the timing. I was 6 months from getting my CO.
Yes.
So I didn't have to pay rent till June, which was when we reopened back up. So like I was in the clear from that. I was able to live off my savings still through COVID and didn't have much left. And then once we came back, we were booming and I was fine and able to pay my bills and get by and be able to pay back my debt. It took me like a year from COVID, from reopening to be able to pay back my loan that I had taken.
So basically
a year.
Have a year's worth of savings as a cushion.
I'd have a year. Cushion.
All right, so that's the other thing. If you want to start a salon now, it's a different game.
Yeah.
You're not doing it for 140, guaranteed.
No.
I mean, okay.
Right.
Let me start over. You're not doing a 13-chair salon designed exactly the way you want it with the fixtures. Your dream. You're not doing it for 140K. Maybe you can. I'm not going to say you're not. But Right now, to do this again is probably going to cost more like $250,000 as opposed to $140 because of COVID, because of the supply chain, because of all these things that you hear about in the news that are making inflation go through the roof, including the government printing way too well. We won't get into that.
Too much money.
So the government, it's out of control speculation. But anyway, what was I saying?
So the cost of starting and how much to have saved.
Oh yeah. You'd have to have $250,000 saved. And it's super sad, right? Because unless you have rich parents or you're just not getting it. Or unless, you can, because you can work really hard for years and years and years.
Right.
Right, like you can do it, but is it going to make sense? Because are you going to make your money back, or are you just, like you say, buying yourself a job?
Right, or buying yourself a job. That's what a lot of people end up doing, is buying yourself a job.
I would have never, if I wasn't confident, and I was confident, but also looking back, I thought people would want to come work for me, but I didn't know. I went and opened a 9-chair salon, not knowing or asking if anybody, I didn't want to be that person that asked at the other salon. They didn't even know what was going down, the other girls there. I knew some of them would probably want to come with me, but I was I'm not asking them. That's not my place. I'll hire a whole brand new staff if I have to. I don't know.
And I was hyping her up with Flavor Flav. I was like, you're the shit.
Right.
People are going to want to work from you. I'm the only thing I had going for me was that I had, not the only thing I had going for me, but I had a strong social media following at the time. So I was all right, people will probably want to, not thinking all of the things that go into actually owning a salon. I was just taking it day by day, really. But had I not been confident that I would have people wanting to work for me, it wouldn't make sense. I was doing perfectly fine. I was making over 6 figures and living my best life at 26 years old. And I was hustling, busting my ass. But I, it's if you're not going to be selfless and cater to your staff and want to be a leader and want to
if you essentially don't want to help build other people up.
Right, exactly.
That's what it is. If you don't want to help build other people's careers and watch them, the coolest thing I think for both of us so far has been watching Devin and Heather and Joelle and Allie succeed and learn and be excited about, in a time when really a lot of young people are not excited about the economy and how much money they're making and the lifestyle that's gonna be available to them. These girls at 21, 22 are realizing oh wait, all I have to do is work hard and I can pretty much live the life I want to live.
They're a good catch.
It's awesome. It's awesome to watch.
As far as opening a salon goes, it's not for everybody, and you have to have a certain. So you have to have a certain mindset and meet a certain criteria. Because like I said, if you're not willing to go at this point in the game, if you're not willing to go above and beyond for your staff and I'm good at doing hair, I'm good at doing a lot of things. But like I said before a million times, I'm more valuable being able to help them. And if you're not willing to put your ego aside and just kind of take a step back, it's a tough pill to swallow when you enjoy doing it all. But I just feel I don't know. It's just, it takes a lot to be not a mediocre salon owner. But again, getting back to if someone should own a salon or open up a salon or not, I think that if you're good with your finances, that's a plus.
If you're good with your finances and if you are the type of person that needs to have a social life outside of your work, don't do it. Because when you do it, your social life becomes the people that work for you. You wake up and you serve this machine every day. Like, you are a servant to your
right.
business.
Like, I don't, in my head, like, they're not even my employees. Like, and I say to them, like, I work for you.
Yeah,
like,
if you have to go, if you have,
you don't work for me, I'm working for you. Like, every day, it's like, what do I need to get done that is going to better serve you standing behind the chair all day?
If you have priorities in your life that include anything other than this dream that you have of running this business, like you said, go out with friends. If you are, if you're one of these people that goes on vacation all the time, that's just not, you're gonna fail if you're doing that, right? If you start a business and you start making a little money and you disappear, you're done. And like, it's not
He's
saying,
brutal.
yeah, no, but I'm saying, like,
It's very cutthroat.
if you're not,
it's like you're done.
If you're not gonna be a slave to the people that you work
Let
for,
them go.
don't have people work for you and not serve them.
Just work for yourself. Well, and honestly, like, everybody wants to, and I was that person. Like, this pissed me off, that pissed me off when I was working in the salon. Like, I just slowly found myself in a leadership mindset, which was my life's purpose. Like, that's what I was supposed to do. And there were things I needed to change, and I wanted control, and I wanted to structure them. Makes sense. But every stylist standing behind the chair is going to have, like I said, they probably have a list of shit that pisses them off that I do, or the person next to them does, or the way the salon's run. It's just, girls complain. Guys garden. We all complain. Everyone complains. Nothing's perfect, but if you can try to help create that perfect atmosphere in the salon that you're at.
Yeah, if I'm standing up for more than like 2 hours, I get real whiny.
And
so
there are a lot of salons where it is shitty. It's a shitty place to work, and maybe one day,
yeah, there's a lot of bad owners.
Maybe one day people will say that about working at White Opal, and 30 years from now, when I'm fucking over it, and I've been doing it, dealing with girls' drama for my whole life. But right now, I'm still fresh.
By that point, to have other people that
They have younger managers.
Yeah.
Younger that can deal with it, because at that point I'll be burnt out, and I'll be like when I talk to people here and there, if they're like, oh, I used to own a salon, I don't do that anymore, I'm like, I understand.
I get you now.
And it's a stigma. Like, being a hairstylist has always been a stigma, that like it's not like a real job. And I feel like,
guess what? They make more money than the people I work with at Goldman Sachs. So have fun behind your computer calling yourself an engineer.
Right.
so being able to create, like I said, just being able to create a space for the younger ones, and being able to show them the way and lead them the way that you can create an actual life from this. Like, I was able to buy my first house at 27 years old.
You've been driving a luxury car since you were 20?
Yeah, like, I've been doing okay. Bought my first house, was able to open a salon a year after buying my house, was able to buy another house and make profit off my first house 3 or 4 years after having that house.
Dog and a cat.
Dog and a cat. And now expanding into the space next door, all in, I'm going to be, 33? 26, 20, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So 6 years of big milestones.
So what's our timeline for the expansion? Realistically, when do we think we'll be open?
We don't even fucking
It was
know
supposed to
now.
be done like last week.
So just a little behind.
They'll probably start construction in the next
so that's
month.
the other thing that people need. People don't need to do anything. That's the other thing I would say.
Don't have a time.
Don't have an expectation. Expectations. Anytime you're trying, because you're dealing with the government, you're dealing with the township, you're dealing with contractors, and if you guys know anything about contractors, they take like 15 jobs at once, and then whatever. That's a whole thing. So you're dealing with all kinds of things that are outside of your control, and having expectations of like, oh, we're going to be open in 6 months.
I learned so much the first time.
You're completely
I would be so annoying, and I've toned down my annoyingness. This time.
You're still a little. So
I'm
like
still
the first
a little
time,
annoying,
like 3 months, like I told her when we first, I'm like, this is going to take 2 years, and like the whole time,
every day.
Like,
how long did this one take to open?
So
from the time
we found the location in like April. of like 2018. And then we didn't sign the lease until like January of 2019. So we found the location. It took a couple months of like back and forth with the landlord, whatever. We were still looking around, and then we were like, okay, no. Then it took 4 months of negotiating the lease. We signed the lease in January of 2019, and I didn't open my doors until January 2020. We
saved like $250,000 over 10 years negotiating the lease properly. That's another. There's so many aspects. Like if you don't negotiate the lease properly, it's going to make it much more difficult to survive.
Right.
Like we had to thread the needle. Everything had to work perfectly.
So in a nutshell, from signing the lease to opening the doors, 1 year.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad, but it felt like.
No, but from the idea and
the idea.
And when we first had the idea, we were thinking, we'll have it built in 6 months, 2 years. It took 2 years. So we started talking about the second one in May, and it's
January. I had told everybody it was going to be done by February.
February.
They're like, when are they? They still didn't. Whatever's next door, they're like, oh, it looks like they're moving. I'm like, that's not even our stuff in there.
But then like permitting and so
we're probably looking at
it to be safe, probably September of next year,
which is fine.
But also at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we're still not open January of next year because you have no control. Like once you sign the paper and people start building, you have no control.
Yeah.
You could yell and scream and act like a crazy all you want. They're gonna look at you and be like, "Meh, I'm gonna build it when I build it."
So until then, we'll just be taking care of a baby, taking care of all of the gems, and
trying to figure out how
doing podcast episodes. Teaching. I have to plan my classes for this year, and all of the things. Figuring out how to run some of the things next door that we plan to do because I don't even know what we're doing. So.
Yeah, we don't actually. We're building. There's going to be some surprises in the one next door, and we don't actually know.
We don't know anything
about how to.
Still throwing around ideas.
Yeah, we don't know how to run the things that we're doing, so we have to figure that out. And we had time to figure it out, but we were like, we'll just wait until it's actually happening.
That's people I don't know. You just do it.
You just do it.
And
everyone's
I think
like, yeah,
that's
how are you?
Well, the mindset, I don't know. I think academic people and people who are book smart, they overplan and they think about things and then they just fail anyway. 90%. It's not mean. It's the truth. 80% of businesses fail within 3 years. More than 80%.
Not up in here. So in the meantime, we just gotta keep it together. We gotta pick up our shoes off the floor so that I don't break. Joey broke my ankle.
She's been limping around the salon over here.
He's a slob, and he leaves his Uggs in the middle of the hallway.
Your shoes were there.
They were there too. I'll give you that.
And they were way more dangerous.
They were my Converse, the ones that are 4 inches tall. No, not good. He was sick, and I break my foot, and I crawl up the stairs because he can't hear me. Babe, I think I broke my ankle. And he comes down it's like, I'm going to pass out. I'm going to throw up. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to throw up. He's like, me too. Because he was so sick, he had a fever. He couldn't even help me.
It's hard to be sick when your girlfriend is pregnant and she just broke her foot, it's hard to be sick.
But you were sick.
I'm sick.
And then he's like...
And then you got to act like...
yeah. And then he's like, all right, are we going to the emergency room? And I'm like, no, I have to go do my bride. B, he's like, fuck your bride. I'm like, no, fuck my ankle. Like, my ankle can wait. I got to go do my bride. He's like, all right, well, and I'm like, and you're not coming to the emergency room. You're the worst right now. Like, you're not even helpful. You couldn't even drive me. I had like
102 fever. And
yeah, he was in bad.
That, like, they wouldn't even actually let me in the emergency room.
Yeah,
probably not.
He was in bad shape. So I go to my bride. I was dying. The adrenaline went away and it hit me when I was in the hotel room. And I'm like, this is not good. And the groom like helps carry me to my car. I'm like,
well, that was nice of him.
Yeah, well, he's like carried my stuff, and I'm like, this is real awkward. Like, I really showed up at your wedding day with a broken fucking foot. And then I'm like,
Well, that just shows your commitment.
Perseverance.
my commitment.
Dedication. It's like Brett Favre.
She showed up on game day with a busted ankle.
And then I come home, and he's like, well, I don't think
Minus
it's
the Vicodin.
I don't think it's broken. I think it's sprained. And I'm like, I don't know what it is, but it's bad. So I drove myself to the emergency room.
I
And
was on the
then
couch.
he was not in good shape. So then I get home, and he's like, I'm limping around on crutches. I'm on crutches. And he's like, are you making the tea or am I making the tea? I'm like, I got it. And then we're sitting there, I have my foot up, and you're like, I feel really bad for you, but I feel really bad for me. I'm like,
Well, you
Right.
realize once the baby gets here, you can't ever be sick again.
well, and then
You got to just suffer through and be there for everybody.
I know. I was staring
I
out
can't
into
even be there
the
for myself half the time.
staring out into the abyss. So he couldn't even take care of me. I had to limp around and still take care of him. And then he finally feels better, and I'm on the couch with my foot up, and he's like, I'm going golfing. I'm like, okay.
All right, see you never.
I
Bye.
went golfing 2 days in a row in freezing weather and got sick again.
He got sick again. And then the other day, he's like, what are you staring at? What are you thinking about? I'm like, that you need to stay healthy because only one of us can fall apart right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
Speaking of, so yeah, that's why I
I'm
sound like this,
sweating.
because
Do you have a fever
He
right
had
now?
the
sweating out Lyme's disease right now.
he had the flu. And I'm sitting there with my broken foot up, bandaged, dying, and he's dying, and I'm thinking, I swear to God, if I get what he has while I feel like this and while I'm pregnant, I will not survive. I will just not survive. And then a week and a half later, I got what you had, or maybe I gave you. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Nobody knows, but not feeling so hot today.
Well, hopefully by the next episode,
Yes,
you'll both be in
next
better
episode,
health.
I will be 30 pounds lighter.
I'll have gone to the doctor to figure out
I've had a blood
what's
test.
wrong with me.
Joey will go to the doctor because health is wealth. I keep telling him,
Very
like,
true. Health as well.
you have to take care of yourself. And me, I've been crying every day. I feel bad for him because I'm like definitely miserable in the morning because my health is walking my dog in the morning. And you don't realize I always appreciate that walk. Even
It
when
is good. It loosens you up.
it's just, that's my meditation time. Like, that's what I do to decompress. I'll
Oh
listen
yeah,
to my
she's been crying
podcast.
because she can't go for walks.
Yeah, because he left his fucking Ugg in the middle of the floor. The best part about the Ugg thing, though, is did I not twist my ankle on it a month prior? And did you not twist your ankle on it 2 weeks later? And then 2 weeks later
Yeah, but my
again?
ankles are tough.
Your ankles are tough. Mine aren't because I'm pregnant. And they're loose. All the ligaments. Apparently everything's loose right now.
That's something
not
new.
Just the ligaments. So I cry because I can't walk Bali in the morning, and I'm like, had a mental breakdown because I'm like, the next time I'm probably going to be able to actually walk her for like a long walk is like after the baby this spring. At this point, I thought I'd be able to walk by now. And guys get so weird when you cry. Do you get weird when your girlfriend cries? Does she ever cry in front of you?
I think we just don't know what to do or say. Like, we don't know if it's one of those moments where you want us to offer
Wait.
solutions or help.
Wait,
or
do you
just
wanna hear-
sit
do you wanna
there
hear
and
his
say,
solution?
I'm so sorry, that sucks. You know?
Do you want to hear his solution? I'm crying. And I come upstairs and he's like on the couch and he feels so bad and he looks at me and he's like, he's like, Sandy, he calls me Sandy. He's like, Sandy, I feel so bad. Do you want to go for a walk?
That's cruel.
The whole reason why I literally wanted to do, I was making my tea, I turned around and was like, that's the whole reason why I'm crying.
See,
He's like,
this is why we don't say anything. We don't know
he's
what
like,
to say.
oh, bad. And he realizes, he's like, bad move. Oh, shit. I'm like, yeah. But mental health, go for walks with your dog and appreciate your walks with your dog. Poor Bali. She's like, this fucking sucks.
She'll have a new friend to play with soon, so I think she'll be
Yeah,
okay.
she'll be
Yeah.
all right with the baby. I can't believe it's only a month away. the crazy thing about being this pregnant is like it's a month away. It could be 6 weeks away or it could be 3 weeks away. I was saying that to him last night. Like,
do you feel ready?
No.
Straight no. Why not?
Well,
I'm gonna start lecturing people about being a dad and be like, what really defines you is the roles that you play in the people's lives around you.
I'm ready
You're
in the
start
sense,
commenting on pregnancy posts on Instagram. I know. I've been a dad for 4 days.
4 days. Am I ready? I'm like mentally ready, I think, but I need January to have my meetings with my staff and delegate all the tasks so that they can do some of my social media stuff for me and some of the things while I'm not here, so I could take like a little bit of a break, even though like I know I'm still going to do some work because I'm going to need some normalcy. I think I could change my mind.
Babies sleep a lot too. You'll have some time.
Yeah, and I have him he's retired and he's home and he's going to be helping me a lot, so that takes a lot of the stress off of it, because if he had like a full-time job, like not in the house, I would be not probably doing any of the things that I'm doing right now in life.
So there you go. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and I'm grateful that
You're just going to do crazy stuff in your 20s and get hurt working for someone and then you retire.
That's the secret.
That's the secret.
Get horribly maimed.
So
have a really good lawyer.
He can come out anytime. Last week of January, I'll give him the clear, which is only like 3.5 weeks away, which is crazy.
It doesn't even see. I don't know.
And it's just like you're in here, and then you just come out, and then you're just here.
Yeah.
And I said to him last night, and then we're just like, we don't even know you. Like, we have to learn who you are. Like, you're a stranger, you know?
You don't have an ID.
You don't even have an ID, but you're half me and half of you. Like, we're like, what's he going to look like?
Schnazola. What
do you think he'll look like?
Joey thinks he's going to have a big nose.
Yeah.
Italians.
I don't know. I think he's going to look like Joey. I think he's going to have blonde hair, blue eyes.
Really?
We were both blondes when we were little.
Huh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Real blonde.
So he'll come when he wants to come, and the rest we'll just figure it out. He thinks it's going to be a walk in the park. He's like, it's not a big deal. People are dramatic. He said it last night. People are dramatic. Like, we're going to be fine. I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
People are dramatic and lack adversity in their life.
He's always up for a
good chaos.
Yeah,
He
thrives on
a good round of chaos.
He thrives on chaos. I thrive on like
order,
pressure.
Yeah.
I can't take order.
Well, you guys seem like you thrive with the kind of rolling with the punches and
yeah, like
doing things.
What was your New Year's resolution? I don't remember, but mine is going to be to try and be okay with the house being like not so big.
Oh yeah, because like you're gonna have to get used to like a little bit of disorder.
I think that comes with the territory. It's not going to be abrupt, Like they're not going to be throwing toys around week one.
No,
You'll slowly get used to that,
But like
and then like year 3, he's gonna be like hucking stuff through the wall and like drawing on your furniture.
The terrible
you're gonna lose it.
I know, he's like, wait until there's a kid in here, you're gonna lose your mind. I'm like,
I mean, I grew up in a big Italian family, so I'm just like, it was just always
I live with
chaos.
Joey's. He's a slob. Boys are slobs. You can't have it all. We want it all, but we can't have it all.
Nope. Well, we all wish you the best of luck with the baby.
Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be
here soon.
It's gonna be here soon. Next episode, we will have a little nuggets to talk about, and probably make a whole episode about mom life behind the chair. Running a business as a mom, figuring out how to do it all. I don't know.
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance.
We'll give you an update on the expansion. For sure.
Yeah, we can do a whole segment on that, because I think everybody's version of that is very different, and it's different for everybody.
All right, well, guys, we will see you on the next episode. Cass, take us out.
All right, guys, thank you for listening and hope to see you on the next episode of the Rare Gems podcast.
See you guys later.
Later, hater.
All right, cool.
I have to pee so bad.
I gotta take a piss.
Go pee.